All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for attending our webinar today. My name is Ashley Limbers, and I'm the marketing lead here at Encompass Solutions. At Encompass, we specialize in ERP consulting and implementation to help manufacturers solve challenges, automate operations, and drive growth. And as a premier partner of Epicor, we deliver tailored ERP solutions that empower businesses to succeed. We are headquartered in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we have been in business for we're actually celebrating our 25th anniversary. And we have just over 40 staff members around the globe. Dan, you can go ahead and transition. Our focus is on manufacturing and distribution, primarily using Epicor software. One characteristic that makes Encompass stand out is that we're very partner focused. We have over 20 years of experience selling Epicor software while being part of their Premier Partner Program. And we have a certified team of consultants that partners with businesses like yours to help with ERP implementations, enhancing software, customizations, and reporting. And today we are exploring ERP and the shop floor integration presented by Dan Salo. Just a few things before we get started. Today's webinar is being recorded, and a copy of that recording will be emailed to you. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please be sure to type them into the question box on your Zoom control panel, and we'll bring them up during the Q&A session at the end. And we also encourage you to take the survey that we have at the end of today's event. So our speaker today, Dan Salo, is a solutions architect here at Encompass. Dan's experience includes 6 years in the aerospace manufacturing sector, working extensively with Epicor and Infor ERPs, Epicor ERP customization, business intelligence, .NET software development, and SQL. He currently serves on the Encompass's EDI team. Perhaps most relevant, Dan began his manufacturing career on the shop floor, working as a plastics extrusion operator and then shipping and receiving. Experiencing firsthand the realities of shop floor chaos and meaningful operational improvement. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn things over to Dan. Dan, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Up on the screen, you have a quick outline of the webinar structure on today's topic of automating the chaos on the shop floor with Epicor. Being an Epicor partner, one thing we can tell you is that Epicor is a big and powerful tool. Epicor was built to solve specific types of problems for a very specific type of company, which are small and medium-sized discrete manufacturers, job-based, BOM, routing-driven operations. And if this describes your company, the heart of your business is the shop floor. And as you already know, your shop floor is in a constant state of change. There exist unlimited opportunities for processes to break down. Your shop floor is unique, and it has its own unique challenges requiring its own set of solutions. And that's especially true in the mid-market space. And Epicor is built to regulate this chaos that your shop floor naturally creates. At the same time, we see some shop floors who are using Epicor initially struggle. There are real-world situations that create shop floor disconnects between Epicor and the shop floor and between the shop floor and the office. So in this webinar, we are going to cover where we see clients initially struggle, where some of these disconnects can come from, how chaos and disconnects usually come about, not from a failure of Epicor itself, but in how Epicor is implemented and adopted. We'll be exploring practical ways that Epicor is built to support the shop floor with automation and visibility, and realistic paths forward for your shop floor. So, whether you're already on Epicor today or considering Epicor, and regardless of your shop floor's current state, this session applies. So to start things off, Ashley's going to pull up a poll question to get a sense of where our audience is in our ERP and shop floor journeys. Ashley?
Yes. So we will come back to the full question. Dan, you can continue. We'll come back to that.
Okay. So what does chaos look like in Epicor environments? Here's what we see chaos look like. One of the most immediate causes of shop floor chaos is not having in place a seamless ability to record real-time data into Epicor, such as completed labor quantities or material issue transactions. Perhaps they're captured too late, hours, days, or longer after the fact. Possibly because it still needs to be re-entered from paper travelers or Excel or whiteboards, or perhaps it's entered into somewhere that does not connect back into Epicor, such as maybe one of your scheduler's many Excel spreadsheets. Your team may need to reconcile multiple siloed systems and wonder which one is true. Depending on your shop floor, without this seamless ability to record data in real time, Epicor quickly grows apart from the shop floor. Things like a job's completion status in Epicor may frequently contradict reality. Perhaps your biggest challenge is distorted inventory and location quantities, part quantity locations, resulting in delayed jobs and mix-ups in fulfillment priorities. The shop floor cannot look back to Epicor for its capabilities in planning and scheduling. Perhaps there may be a distrust of the Epicor data and capabilities that have emerged among the shop floor. Perhaps it is challenging to manage the shop floor effectively because rather than being a control system, Epicor is at best a historical reference. It's become a historical reference. This may result in frequent calls and walkovers from your shop floor team, alerting of unforeseen problems and the need for last minute expedites, emails from customers asking the status of their order, the need for frequent hot jobs and weekend overtime, sales having trouble giving realistic promise dates, and your team may also be having to have difficult conversations and issue apologies to customers. If any of this is familiar, we're going to take a look at a path forward, a reasonable path forward a little bit later on, reasonable path forward. But for now, we'll take a look at why and how these disconnects can come about.
And Dan, we are ready to pull the audience to see which of those that they struggle with.
Okay, great.
All right. So when a customer deliverable starts to fall behind schedule, how do you usually find out? Do you have an automatic system alert? Do you manually review and interpret system data? Someone calls and walks over, or you discover it too late. So if you'll just go ahead and take that survey, and we'll see where everyone is at today. I'll give you a few more seconds. And the results are still coming in. All right. So Dan, it looks like we are almost split 50-50 between manually review and interpret system data. We're at 43%, and then we discover it too late is 57%. So those are the two highest out of all of the different ways they can fall behind.
All right. So manual review and the even split, manual review and interpret system data, and we discover it too late. So what these results show is that to reiterate on the point, every shop floor is unique, every manufacturer is unique in where they are in their current ERP adoption and regulating shop floor chaos using means of an Epicor ERP or some other electronic system. So we're all on our own unique journeys, and we're here to explore paths forward. So with that being said, we've touched upon what Epicor, what shop floor chaos looks like within the ERP. We'll take a look at why exactly this how exactly this can occur on shop floors, how an ERP system, how this is allowed to happen despite Epicor or another ERP system being present. So in the case of Epicor, first may be that Epicor may not have been implemented as the correct ERP selection. Sometimes when we go in to a new prospect or customer doing operational discovery, we uncover that the manufacturer was actually more of a process manufacturer. We uncover things like maybe all jobs and shop floor activities are being transacted outside of Epicor. No routing or bombs are in use, no jobs are in use in Epicor. And in-house software is making inventory adjustments once all the shop floor activities are complete or recorded using external systems that are outside of Epicor. In these cases, Epicor is only facilitating the finance, the order to cash, and procure to pay processes. In these particular cases, one reason may have commonly been chosen, we've seen, as demands from the plant's private equity owners at the time was for all plants' ERP systems to be uniform and consolidated. And you see situations where, let's say, a predominantly process-oriented operation gets set up with Epicor, which is built for classic discrete operations. And the sister plants are discrete manufacturers, but this plant was a process manufacturer. Epicor is the right tool for the sister plants at the time, but it wasn't the right choice for this particular shop floor. Let's say it was a process manufacturer. But there's still that perception in that case that the root cause of the shop floor chaos or Epicor not being used to its potential or what it was implemented for was the cause is Epicor itself. It wasn't that selection of Epicor. Another is that Epicor may have also been set up as an accounting first ecosystem, when the fact is that Epicor is really meant to be an operations first manufacturing ERP with deep accounting baked in. In many cases, we see Epicor implemented primarily as a costing engine with routings set up for cost calculations, but never actually set up to leverage meaningful shop floor regulation. It could also be that Epicor does have the potential to be the right fit for a particular shop floor. Maybe it was the correct choice. However, the initial implementation of Epicor may or may not have started off on a strong initial implementation. There may have been changes in the shop floor operations at the same time of a merger or acquisition, maybe an in-house ERP resource, ERP manager, key staff left. Let's say it could have been a materials manager who knew the ERP system really well. Perhaps an outside consultant or ERP partner may no longer be in the picture. So what happens when your people or resources leave? Picking up the pieces after losing your ERP manager is painful. Losing your operations manager is painful. Losing your outside consultants. Resources painful, especially in smaller and medium-sized environments. And your business is likely at a point in a situation where you don't have time, you don't have anyone with the time to fix things in Epicor and make sure things are done right and set up right, as everyone else is dealing with so many other priorities other than how to best reconfigure and retrain everybody in Epicor. So this is where Encompass can step in. Another common thing we see is customization replacing standard functionality. Customizations and augmented systems such as Excel sheets, a brittle spider web of Excel sheets and Excel macros, kind of taking on a life of their own, homegrown intranets. Commonly, the creators of these augmented systems are no longer around to advise. And we love customizations, but there's a time and a place for customization. And that's usually not replacing the functionality that Epicor already natively provides. We've done thousands and thousands of customizations for our customers, but without a directed strategy, the result is often tools that work around Epicor and take on a life of their own. A big one I've seen is serial numbers in my time during aerospace. Regulating serial numbers on the shop floor, and uh, that's an endemic challenge. It's a constant challenge in the aerospace industry, given the variety of very specific, very nuanced serial number schemes that are assigned by aerospace customers, the top level suppliers, the Boeings and the Lockheed Martins of the world. I could write a book about this topic in aerospace of all the different homegrown systems I've seen be created outside of ERPs, Epicor, and otherwise, and how the use of these external systems outside the ERP result in chaos and mistakes. Continue on. Another big point we see is the MES is being underused or avoided in Epicor. And this is a big one. So MES, or Manufacturing Execution System, otherwise known as data collection and new releases, and we'll touch upon this a bit more later. One immediate reason we see labor and material not always reported in real time is lagging or clunky process of inputting such data. So for anyone who is not already familiar, the MES or data collection, it's a simplified interface from Epicor specifically for operators to report labor, production, and arrange material transactions quickly in real time directly into the ERP system. It's designed for a shop floor terminal. It's a station or a computer placed on the shop floor PC. Its purpose is to keep things as quick and simple as possible for your shop floor team to record data. The simpler things are for your shop floor team, the smoother your shop floor operation will be. So we've seen a lot of success in making sure data collection in MES is easily available and the shop floor team is trained. Taking into account operator experience, Encompass believes that Epicor should be built as a reflection to your business and your shop floor. And we've seen some of the best insight and sources of continuous improvement consistently come from shop floor teams through their wealth of firsthand experience. Your operators will notice things nobody else will. One quick recent source of operator continuous improvement is this customer, this shop floor had an operator that was performing on average 50 scrap transactions per day. He pointed out it takes 6 clicks for him to search for and implement a scrap reason code. That's 300 clicks per day. So we worked with this customer to get this down to 2 clicks, this process down to 2 clicks by switching from a drop-down menu system, switching to a drop-down menu system instead of a search-based system. And we put in an autosave feature to make things as streamlined as possible. We eventually got this down to 2 clicks, so it saved around 200 clicks per day for this one particular operator. Another one, your operators may point out they spend a lot of time running print jobs every day for job travelers. So in these types of cases, we configure what's called advanced printing and routing for things such as this, such as automatically printing travelers every morning on a scheduled interval for the day's newly released jobs directly to the cell of the first operation it's for every morning. So this type of thing does not have to be done manually throughout the day, just doing print operations. That's handled automatically. Another example, I was pointed out by a shop floor team that they had to do a manual calculation of an extra capacity produced by a job. This was a bolt operation manufacturer. So based on the job quantity, they would have an extra quantity that was produced, and operators had to manually calculate this for every job. So what Encompass was able to do, we were able to quickly program into the job trap will report this quantity so that the operators will not have to spend time doing this. They're doing this many dozens of times per day, and they no longer had to do this. So since one of Epicor's key benefits is that it is highly customizable, configurable on the shop floor, very flexible. If your shop floor suggests something that a screener view, they want a certain way, they prefer to have a certain way, your team or Encompass can quickly configure Epicor to enable your shop floor success. So by making sure we engage operators and the shop floor team, we can make Epicor be seen as an effectual system. So it's used more and more. And we have a nice continuous improvement cycle. And your shop's floor can reach their full potential. The usage of the Epicor tool can reach its full potential based on your shop floor team's feedback. From flow to production. So a very, very basic illustration diagram of shop floor flow. One of the things we like to point out is that the flow of materials and information generally starts on the receiving side. So one area of success we've seen in managing shop floor chaos is implementing a labeling solution, starting with the receiving department. So where we set up a system so that quantities and materials can be recorded right when they're received. When you have everything barcode labeled right from the start, there's much less opportunity for mistakes. When you scan everything, you know you got the right parts. So for example, one of our projects was for a t-shirt printing company making t-shirts for department stores. On receiving of the blank t-shirts, the raw materials from their suppliers, the sizes of the t-shirts, they look more or less the same. Stacking t-shirts is challenging, especially when they're wrapped in plastic bags. They slip all over the place. They fall on the floor. They have to be restacked. And without that tight organization and labeling, what was happening was that would eventually work its way through the shop floor, a mix-up, and eventually there were times when the shop floor, the business was getting fined because it was shipping the wrong size product. So one of the things we did was set up this customer and train them on Bartender, which is a third-party utility, third-party software package that ties into many ERPs, including Epicor, for convenient barcode labeling. We set up this customer with mobile devices and USB scanners on the receiving PCs. They were able to scan everything immediately as they received the blank t-shirts, sorting the received blank t-shirts into the correct box. This solved major problem. This solved the major problem for them that the sizes were getting mixed up. And a solution like Bartender, which provides the guardrails to prevent these customer service errors, it was making things faster, eliminating steps, eliminating potential for error. So since everything was sorted upon receipt, later on down the line, since everything was barcoded, it was also preventing the need to inspect everything again right before shipping, because you got it scanned right when it went in. Another big area of common challenge is inventory. A few of our consultants say that where we see customers struggle the most is that they don't trust the inventory counts that are in Epicor. That same customer, for example, they had a shipping team that was constantly working overtime because it was very challenging to find stuff on time, the items that needed to be shipped. It was very hard to keep up with their high volume. And they had what was called about what they called the walkabout. This may be familiar, may or may not be familiar to your shop floor, but it basically means they had to walk around the warehouse until they found the right T-shirt, the right item. And obviously, it's a highly inefficient process. In one of their physical inventory counts, they determined that their Epicor inventory was only 60 to 70% accurate. So things eventually came to the point where they decided to substantially invest in addressing their inventory challenges. And as part of their focus on improvement, Epicor was brought in, and what we did was we implemented EKW, which is Epicor Kinetic Warehouse. It's a wireless warehousing solution. So this provided the ability for real-time transactions to be inputted quickly and easily by handheld devices. Encompass trained them on the system and how to label everything, how to go about labeling everything in their warehouses. We set them up with the right hardware for the wireless warehousing devices. We walked them through setting up bin and location tracking, point them to the right reports to get them the right information to save large amounts of time. We walked this customer through understanding everything that's possible with Epicor's inventory features, such as setting apart default location bin if something always needs to be somewhere specific. The ability for Epicor to send to inventory automatically once a job is created, guiding them through all the right settings. So eventually, a year later, the results, they hired an independent inventory auditor, and this was a CPA audit inventory to audit their next physical inventory process. And this company scored a 99.999% accuracy on their inventory, up from 60 to 70% a year earlier. And the results were that the shipping team was able to get back to a normal 40-hour weekly schedule. They saw substantial returns on investment, probably most notably happier customers on their end. And obviously, this can't all be attributed to Epicor and Encompass, but this is the type of thing that Epicor helps drive you toward. And Encompass can work with your shop floor to get you these types of results. All right, circling back to the MES. So the biggest thing MES does is it makes it as quick and easy as possible for your shop floor to work according to an organized plan and an organized production queue set by the front office, schedulers, supervisors, etc., in real time, using the latest, up to the second adjustments that they make to the schedule. And so through the MES, as an operator records progress, it can be immediately recorded across the ERP in real time. So your team is acting upon the very latest real-time material and operation data, accurate to present minute reality. Using MES, an operator can perform GET requests for materials, have them arrange a staging at their work location. They can interact with the material queue. So to get their next material, whether this material is going to come from a previous work center or inventory, or if they completed their activity, this can be arranged with the MES where the material had after this operation, wherever the next work center may be or inventory. Also accessible through MES is the shop tracker, where you can set up shop floor warnings, exception-based alerting within the Epicor ERP system. So you can see things like who is here, who is not here, who is working on which jobs and tasks at what time. You can see when workers clock in or out of jobs that have exceeded a certain threshold, efficiency threshold. Maybe they've gone over their estimate or tasks that are behind schedule. So as these events occur, you can get notified of these events, and one of those rays is right through the shop tracker that is easily accessible through the MES. And this is the work queue. And scheduling. Implementing scheduling, it's common that we come back after an Epicor initial go live with Epicor to implement scheduling in MRP as a phase two. We want to make sure the ERP is proven to be stable before implementing scheduling in MRP, since the prerequisites for MRP are having accurate methods, resource configuration, and having real-time labor and material use data already known to be correct. So with the MRP setup, jobs can be scheduled automatically without having to have a planner schedule every job, freeing up time to only have to adjust the schedule manually when needed. MRP also improves the purchasing, which allows for you to optimize your ordering to make sure you're having optimized levels of purchase inventory. And ultimately, the objective is to give you the ability to give your customers accurate promise dates. So third-party tools, Epicor, very, very flexible, provides a lot of capabilities for third-party packaging, third-party tools, or your own custom homegrown software using Epicor's API capabilities. So we touched upon Bartender and Epicor Kinetic Warehouse. Another one we've seen customers have success with regulating shop floor chaos is CADLink. So what CADLink does, CADLink is an integration to help your shop floor have more streamlined entry of material and operation data directly into Epicor for all your parts. Your engineers can work directly from their CAD software to input this information directly into Epicor without double entry. So this obviously is going to shorten the time and complexity between order and production. So by removing that delay, something like CADLink can make it easier for your shop floor to meet its target ship dates. And of course, we also have EDI solutions. Many can be integrated with Epicor, ready to be integrated. Epicor has one of their own, and we also have one of our own. It's called Entrust. So if you need an EDI solution, these are available. So with an EDI solution, this helps the shop floor by having a more seamless order to cash process and smoother demand flows into your shop floor. All right, so when the shop floor is regulated, when Epicor is used to its capabilities for regulating shop floor chaos, we get easily known and available metrics, like your labor efficiency, schedule adherence, WIP accuracy, and real-time job status. So you can have that information, and your shop floor can take action on that information and KPIs when it matters most, which is right now, immediately. And if you've never worked with Epicor, or you're considering Epicor has a modern web-based interface. It's a very good-looking ERP product. whether it's being viewed from a laptop, desktop, phone, or tablet. So what good looks like in Epicor? Everyone trusts the Epicor data. Everyone works inside Epicor. We have accurate job costing, less manual work, confident decision making. Ultimately, Epicor is meant to be your shop floor's source of truth. So these are the outcomes of the results for having Epicor integrated and set up with intent and with the right strategy. And good means you don't have to call customers saying things will be late due to shop floor chaos. So quick takeaways from the webinar. Epicor is not the problem. Usually, in almost all situations, it's the disconnected execution that can create the chaos, and having things adopted optimally matters more than the system complexity. So with Epicor, we know that your shop floor is unique and your ERP journey is unique. If you are interested in working with us, what we do is we identify and clarify your needs. We make sure any solutions fit your challenges. I hope you found value and insight in today's webinar. If any of what we discussed today feels familiar, whether that be a clunky execution, disconnected processes, or perhaps Epicor is being used more as a financial system rather than an operational system that's meant to be, or you may have a shop floor that could use additional tooling. You're not alone, you're in good hands. The good news is that most of these gaps, they aren't system limitations. They're opportunities for improvement. So if you're curious what you think that could look like in your environment, we'd be happy to start that conversation. So thank you everybody for joining. I'm now going to pass back to Ashley for audience questions and some closing announcements.
Thank you, Dan. That was great. A lot of information. If you can transition to the next slide. We are going into our Q&A session of the webinar. So if you do have a question, please type those into the Q&A on your control panel. And while we're waiting for questions to come in, Dan, if you want to transition to the next slide.